Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Luca. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. So, Luca, this came out in 2021. It was supposed to get a theatrical release in 2021, but that didn't happen for reasons, COVID and all that. So Disney, in their infinite wisdom, thought it would be for the best to not give this a theatrical release. Hell, not even give it like a Disney Plus Premier Access release where it was in theaters, but if you want to watch on Disney Plus, you got to pay for it for like $30, which I still think is egregious and just wrong. They didn't even get that. No, they just dumped it on Disney Plus for no cost. I mean, sure, for me, that's fine. Someone doesn't want to pay $30 to watch a movie. But for the movie itself, it just feels just kind of like you're throwing it away. You're just dumping it there. Kind of like what they did with Artemis Fowl back in 2020. I don't think any of you even remember that movie, and if you don't, good. It's for the best. but um but even still, this movie had its reception was very good. It wasn't like near the top of the Pixar's, you know, it was like the best Pixar movie ever, but for what it was all right. 91% critic score, 85% audience score. Movie has a pretty vast fan base online, kind of like what happened with like Rise of the Guardians. Like a lot of animated movies tend to have big fan bases online. Look at Spider-Verse, for example. So yeah, I guess I have to label that as a pro, and I guess I can mention on Disney Plus. Apparently, it was the most streamed movie that whole year across all the streaming platforms. So I guess I can label. I guess all that would be a pro, definitely. Trying to think of another pro. I guess this is Pixar. Pixar, they have a long track record of success, even though the past few years have definitely, really the last decade or so, has been very shaky, to say the least. Um, Obviously, from Toy Story to Toy Story 3, it was like golden. And then Cars 2 happened, and people didn't like that one. Brave and Monster University were seen as okay, but they made money. Inside Out, people loved that. It was a big hit. Good Dinosaur was their first flop, underperformed. Finding Dory made money. Cars 3 didn't do great, but it was all about merchandise, so it really didn't matter. Coco did great. Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, money, money, money. Onward got screwed very hard by COVID. And then, well, you know what happened with Soul, Luca, and Turning Red. And then Lightyear was a huge disaster. And then Elemental barely avoided disaster. And now here we are with Inside Out 2 coming out in June. Will that do well? Realistically, it should. But at this point, I don't know anymore. I'm not confident. My confidence has dwindled when it comes to like the how big Disney movies do, especially what happened last year. Last year was horrible for them. It was so bad. That was their 100th anniversary too. So yeah, I don't know. But I guess Pixar, brand name recognition, got labeled out as a pro, even though they've definitely seen better days. I think that's really it. Yeah, yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cons. Ooh, these Disney Plus Pixar movie re-releases, they have been going terrible, if you haven't noticed. I mean, on paper, sounds like a great idea. These movies, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, they all got screwed because of circumstances that were completely beyond their control. And people were really getting upset about these Pixar movies, these big Pixar movies just being treated like trash and just being dumped on a streaming service just with the sole reason to boost subscriber numbers, which has definitely had a severe impact on recent Pixar movies, or at least somewhat of an impact on recent Pixar movies. They're finally getting a chance to shine. They're getting a chance to be seen on the big screen. And they're not even like pulling it off of Disney Plus to do it. Like you can, it's still on Disney Plus. It's not like what they did with Avatar, where they took it off of Disney Plus for a time when they did its theatrical re-release, like in 2022. That's not what they're doing here. So, yeah, on paper this sounds great. Execution, horrible. Doesn't help. Apparently, there's been like zero marketing behind it, so that doesn't help anything. Yeah, let's look at how like Soul in like January did horrendous. It didn't even make $1 million here. Turning Red did, but not by much. So, yeah, 1.4 million for a Disney Plus Pixar movie. I think that should tell you a lot right there. Um yeah, so the 0.0% success rate of these Disney Plus Pixar movies, the theatrical releases, yeah, that's a huge, enormous con, the biggest con ever. So that's con number one. Con number two, there's so much going on. There's so much that's been going on in the world of pop culture. I mean, like Disney itself, Wednesday had X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. So, yeah, that. Thursday was more Invincible season 2. Then Friday there were a bunch of games coming out, as I already mentioned. Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2, Princess Peach Showtime all came out the same day. That's obviously gonna grab attention. And then yeah, Ghostbusters after Frozen Empire, which although isn't doing the greatest, it's still gonna be by far and away the biggest movie this weekend. So this movie, because of all that's kind of screwed. It's put in a bad spot. So yeah, dealing with a bunch of stuff going on in the pop culture world. Yeah, that's a con, obviously. I think that's really it. Yeah, I think that's it. So opening weekends, is there even a point to make an opening weekend prediction? Well, I mean, okay. I don't even know how many theaters this is even in. It doesn't say. I'm trying to find. Yeah, it's not there. I don't see anything, so I imagine it's low. So the Soul and Turning Red. When I take these two numbers, I might as well just like do an average. An average would be like around 500K. So I'm just gonna go with that, 500K. I wouldn't be surprised if it was lower. Opening weekend, then a final total of like maybe a little over 1 million, and then that'll be it. And I imagine Disney is feeling hella regretful about letting these movies, about releasing them in, theatrically. Even like, it's honestly their fault. Like they could have done a much better job with this. They just kind of just threw them out there and hope they make like some money, and that did not work out. So yeah, but the most important thing is that we're done. We're done with the weekend. Yay. Ugh. I hate these 4 movie weekends. I really do. Hopefully next weekend. It looks like I'm only doing 2, but I'm not too sure about that. But it seems like I'm only doing 2. And those 2 movies are Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, and In the Land of Saints and Sinners, I guess. So that'll be next week. And yeah, so yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. We'll check out more videos like this. Got playlists on the homepage. All previous prediction videos I made this year. You want to watch my prediction videos for The Soul and Turning Red, go right ahead. Or you want to see any of my prediction videos I made the past few years, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I covered Luca 2 times. The first time was episode 50, where that was when the announcement that this was going to go to Disney Plus was made, alongside Cruella and Black Widow, which those two got the Disney Premiere Access release, but Luca didn't. Makes no sense. So talked about alongside those two movies, not to mention Shang-Chi, Free Guy, Death on the Nile, and The King's Man. Talked about a bunch of Disney movies that episode. But the second time I talked about it was way more recent, up to like 220. This was when it was announced to get a theatrical release, along with Soul and Turning Red. I also talked about Thanksgiving 2 and Nosferatu in that video. So if you want to watch those 2 episodes or any other ones I've done on the channel, I've done like 238 of these things. So if you want to watch any of those episodes from beginning to now, I highly encourage you do it. So go do it. And there's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for a particular month. March recap won't be until April, 2.5 weeks from now, I would say. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.